back, Cozy Travelers. I hope you guys had a great couple of weeks. If you are new to my channel, thank you so much for clicking on this video. And if you're coming back, I want to welcome you back. Today we are doing the next part in the series of swatching my bottles of inks. And what I've been doing so far is each video I tackle like 1 to 2 brands and do swatches and then a drawing that correlates to the name of the ink or something that maybe it was inspired by. So quick flip through of the ones I've already done. We did a Wearing Gold last time, Troublemaker ink, the Teranishi. We did Yoseka Ceramics, Graph from Faber-Castell, Monteverde. And then the ones I had done before the series as just like our test run was J. Urban, Dominant Industry, and yeah, those are it. So today I wanted to tackle Lennon Tool Bar, which I have 3 inks for, and then I have 1 from Ferris Wheel Press. I think we're going to start off first with the Lennon Tool Bar ones, which the bottles look like this. Really cool bottles. As you can see, none of them have a label on them because when they were shipped to me, I think that he kind of peeled it off, and I kind of liked how the bottles looked without them, so I took them off. In the case of like the stickers on the box, I was able to cut it off and kind of just stick them to the top of the bottles, which is great because a lot of my bottles I see like top down as opposed to the side, so this is great. And then for this one, the Iyako or Aunt Chair, I have the Yoseka label print thing on the bottom. So I'm going to start with those 2 first, and then I do have 1 more of the Lennon Tool Bar inks. So yeah, let me get everything situated here. As usual, I'm using the same materials. Hearing all that clicking. Some Kakamori nibs, a couple brushes, and a glass muddler to do some cool swatching. So further ado, let's start. So on the first ink here, we have Aunt Tiger. As you can tell, halfway through the word, I realized I wrote chair, which is the ink I'm going to be doing next. But I do my best to fix it. And yeah, so this is part of the Lennon Tool Bar series. For my typical layout of how I swatch the inks, you'll see me do some line work with my fine nib Kakamori. I do some slashes, some swirls, and some like S shape. I don't know what those are called, but I do a couple of those. And then I'll go in and do some tests on timing and how long it takes to dry. So this shows kind of the wetness of the ink. I do just want to show it at its normal line width, then one at 5 seconds. This next one here is at 10 seconds. And the last one is at 20 seconds. So this one you could tell is a pretty wet ink. And then I do a swatch with my glass stir, or muddler, however you want to call it, and do some swatching lines. Here I start sketching out this Tigress. So again, so the name of the ink is Aunt Tiger, and it's was part of the Lennon Tool Bar summer series back in 2022. And the story behind it is that it introduces some type of popular folklore. So specifically this one, Aunt Tiger is this creature that scares children. And basically, if you're not asleep, or like if a kid is pretending to be asleep, she'll take them away. So this was like the story they would tell kids to make them go to bed. And so what happens here is I got inspiration from this book cover called Auntie Tigress and Other Favorite Chinese Folktales. And this was illustrated by Eva Wang. I'll pop up the cover right here. So I love that pose and that look of this like humanoid anthropomorphic tiger. And so I kind of took that, and the face is not exactly, but I really liked the outfit they were wearing and the pose. So that's kind of the inspiration for this one. To start off, I did a under sketch with some color pencil, only because I didn't feel like if I did it straight with like a lead, it would erase well and you would see it because it's such a light color. And so I did that with like a brown Prismacolor and then went over it with the ink. Because this one was so detailed, I did have to start off with the fine nib Kakamori, the steel dip pen, and then I moved on to do the more kind of heavier line work and more washes with the Kakamori, the other nib, and the brushes. Right in the bottom corner here, you'll see kind of my palette pop into frame. Here I'm putting a little bit of the ink aside with some water and diluting it so I could do some washes so I could make some different values for the ink itself. Sometimes when I add water, I don't know if I'm going to be getting something that brings out certain properties. In this case, it didn't, so it was pretty straightforward. It just kind of paled out that kind of caramelly brown, and that led me to be able to create a depth from the fabric to the kind of ribboned ornate piece on the back. And yeah, overall I feel like this was a really solid start to the next sets that I do. So now here I properly have written Aunt Chair, which is the ink I had mentioned I wrote incorrectly on the left side and when I was trying to do the tiger one. But yeah, this color paired with the Aunt Tiger on the left hand side worked really well together. I really love this like really like desaturated grayish green tone. I think it writes really gorgeously. The only thing that be forewarned with Lennon Tool Bar inks is that I've only recently heard that a lot of them have like had other mold on it or gone bad. So I would definitely say check in on your inks if you have Lennon Tool Bar with like if you purchased it. Just take a look at it, make sure there's no weird smells to it, there's no weird like jelly consistency, and just yeah, keep an eye on your inks. Always see if there's any issues with them. Oh yeah, here's when I was swatching now with the muddler for Aunt Chair, I realized I completely did not do the big swatch I tend to do underneath the little wave with the muddler, so I went back and just kind of added it in the background, and I really like how it kind of looks like it's incorporated with the drawing. So that was kind of a nice like happy mistake, but I made sure to do it on the next few inks. So same thing here, I'm going in with that same brown color pencil. In hindsight, I don't know why I didn't go in with a dark green color pencil instead of a brown one. But now, you know, sometimes you kind of just are in the moment, and I was just kind of like, yeah, this will work. But yeah, I definitely, if I'm ever going to do like an under sketch like this, I'm going to try to get as close of a color, because I have a bunch of Prismacolors, so I'm bound to find something fairly close to the ink color. But yeah, so the story behind Aunt Chair here, just like Aunt Tiger had, is that the tale itself is about a girl who becomes a wraith after becoming abused to death. She becomes a spirit and hides in the corners of households and guards children. Sometimes children would summon her and she would hang out with them. She was terribly scared of adults and would suddenly disappear in the middle of playing if she saw an adult in the room. I was like, wow, that is a story. And so I was like, how do I get this to come across? And so what I did is I looked up like reference to like an old like chair and just drew that in. And then I wanted to kind of make this like doll like little girl behind it. I don't know if I succeeded as well with this one as I did with the Aunt Tiger one. Like, I feel like that one was just such a solid starting piece that this one was like, I liked it. Like, I like how kind of like ominous she is behind there, but she's also kind of like spooked. So yeah, overall it was not my favorite in here, but it definitely, like, I liked the vibe and I feel like it got across the feeling of the ink name and its story. So on the Yoseka site description of this ink specifically, there's like a whole kind of description of why this color was put into the winter series, and this was released in 2021. And so this is what is on the site, on Yoseka site. So it says the orange red wolfberry, also known as the goji berry. So I was right. It is also a goji berry. Is put in hot pots to bring warmth in winter. It is essential for winter tonics. People often add wolfberries in their Chinese herb hot pots. As the northeastern monsoon approaches, all kinds of cold-proof wear and gadgets have come out of the market. Thermal underwear, hand warmers, down jackets, beanies, gloves, socks are prepared for the next wave of cold air from the north. But you might not know that there's an ultimate cold-proof weapon that will for sure heat the winter and keep you warm. Enjoy winter stews or soups is one of the most traditional and effective cold-proof strategies by the Taiwanese people. After stir-frying sliced ginger and chicken on heat, you add rice wine into the pot and stew it. You might also want to add some wolfberries to mellow the flavor. Make sure you put in the cabbage right before you serve the dish. You will definitely enjoy the warm winter when you take a bite of this crunchy cabbage and sip on the warm sweet soup. And it's just saying that it's inspired by the color and its many health benefits. So yeah, I didn't expect that the goji berry had this whole lore, especially for, why they chose this as the inspiration for this color. But it's really cool that that was the reasoning for it. And there, you do get that warmth of this, because I actually really love this color for winter. I had used it a couple years ago for my winter ink, and kind of just reading about it made me really want to use it for winter next year. So the only issue I had with this one is when I was adding the water to it, like, it was kind of tricky to keep the vibrancy of this color without it getting too
kind of desaturated with the water. I think at the time I was drawing it, I really didn't like how this was coming out. I kind of was like, just trust the process, and you know, maybe you'll like it later. Which is funny because right now looking at it, I'm just like, yeah, this is nice. But it's funny, in the moment itself, I was kind of struggling with it. So as of right now, this is the only Ferris wheel press ink that I own a bottle of. I do have a decent amount of samples that I've gotten from friends over the past few years. So the only reason Ferris wheel press sometimes is tricky. I feel like the design of the bottles is always really nice, but sometimes I feel like the design is more of the focus than the inks. Like they're pretty bottles, but I'm like, they're kind of impractical to fill or like keep in spots. So that's my only qualms with it, and I think that's the reason why I don't get the full bottles. But I do like some of the colors, especially this one. This is probably one of my favorite of their colors. Oyster Hour, like it starts off this like greenish, almost like gray, and then it does dry down to like almost this like brownish tone, which I really enjoy, and the reason why I really like it with my chai latte pen. When looking up information about this color, there wasn't much that came up. The only information I got from their site was, it says, we celebrate the spirit of the collector with the Finer Things collection. 3 new rich and heartwarming colors inspired by the romance of antiques and cherished ephemera. As representative capsules of time and culture, we are inspired by the fascination of objects before our time. We capture the feeling of reminiscence and finding the perfect addition to a prized collection through our newest curated compilation of fine fountain pen inks. So, not much information there. So, for me, again, Oyster Hour just kind of took it as like a time for oysters. If there's deeper meaning to this, and let me know in the comments, because like I'm always fascinated by, people choose, like companies choose names or like certain things. So like for the Lennon Tool Bar, I really love how there's so much thought put into why they picked a color ink and like the tone they picked and like at what time they release it. So that's always really fun. So yeah, if this one has like a deeper meaning to it, like that'd be really cool to know as well. So here we just drew, simple closed oyster. I had contemplated doing an open one, but I was kind of, the color as to why I feel like this works so well for the outside is that it does have that kind of shading to it. There is no shading in this one. It's mostly just shading. So I wanted to get that feel of the kind of rough exterior, and so I did that. And I will say it was kind of hard once I had gotten the wash on there to get really dark, and I kind of lost some of the lines, so I do eventually go back in and kind of clean some stuff up. But when I was going in with the fine nib, I had to like really hatch in there to make sure that there was getting some really dark points, because if I went in with my other like bullet kakamori, I feel like it would have muddled and made those lines like way too thick where you're trying to put those curvatures for the fine lines.
Alrighty, so I let a lot of this dry. I actually also went in to these with some white gel pen just to kind of bring out some of that area that kind of got really muddled, like muddy. So let's just take a look back at the ones that we did today. So we did Oyster Hour by Ferris Press. We did a little oyster. I really like the outside of it, and with this color, like you could get a really fun array of like these dark areas, and this part I think I dapped it with like a paper towel, so like you got this really cool like starburst of a different tone here. The Wolfberry got really dark. Like it's funny because when I'm swatching it, it's like some of the areas are still wet. It's like bloody. Like that's the only color I can think of when I'm seeing the ink wet. But it does dry down really like almost like a orangey brown, which is pretty fun. Put this in here so I don't spread it onto the next page. And again, just one more glance at Aunt Tiger and Aunt Chair, which I really like how I enjoyed how it came out. Really funny that I forgot to do this, but that's all right. We literally, we learn and we move on. But yep, thank you so much for sticking around for this. I think this is number 3 in the series. I will keep doing these in between like videos that I have more solidified ideas wise. Next one is going to be my fall pens. That's so exciting. Again, bittersweet as always because I love all my pens that I've used for the summer, but I'm also ready for something new, and I'm ready to get in some 13 new pens. So thank you again so much for watching. I hope you stay well and healthy, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye.